Good morning. It's Ready, Set, Homestead, where the only fluff is the feathers. And today is chicken processing day. We're gonna take you step by step on how to process a chicken from a live chicken all the way out to a parted bird. The breed that we're gonna be processing today is called Cornish cross. It's a mix typically between a Cornish hen and a white rock. Now, this is a bird that you can't typically raise on your own. It's the thing that you also get a lot from the stores. Difference is this was raised naturally. It also wasn't pumped with saline, and it's gonna be a nice fresh bird. Each bird should weigh out from between 3 pounds to 6 pounds, depending on the bird. But we're processing at 8 weeks. With Cornish cross, usually process between 7 and 9 weeks. However, you can go a little bit longer. It just depends on the bird and whether or not it's gonna make it, because they are bred to grow. We'll also be giving a shout out and a mention to all the people who did enter in our little contest that we had last day of the short form video last week. So I'll make sure I'll be putting y'all's names up there for those of y'all who got the answer right in the contest. Stay tuned to the end. I don't like a lot of rambling, so I want to get straight into it. I'm going to show you the setup we have. We're going to collect the birds, and then we're going to start processing. Now, I am going to be explaining each and every step of the way what we're going to be doing in our processing to try and give you the absolute most amount of information that you can get so you can do this on your own. Okay, so here's our setup we got here. So the first step in this process, this is going to be the cone stand. So these are called kill cones. The official name is restricting cones. I did get those from Little Giant. So these are restricting cones. Down here, these are gonna be the buckets to catch the blood. Blood is gonna be used at a later time and use as much of the blood as possible. So once we perform the ventral cut on the kill cones, we're gonna move over to the scalding pot. Now, I think this is about 100 quart, it might be 80. You wanna make sure that your temperature is right around 150 to 155, because you don't wanna burn the bird. Then we move over here, that's just the stand. And there's my wife, Jaden. This right here is the plucker. So this is a yard bird plucker. This way we don't have to do it by hand. It's just gonna make our lives a lot easier. We can toss the birds inside here. And then we move to our evisceration tables. Now these are just plastic tables. So we got the tables here, we got some knives set up, we got the gallon bags. This is gonna be for everything that we don't use. So the things that we don't use, some of the parts, some of the intestines, things like that, the heads, those are gonna go to rehabilitation centers, the places that can't take it, well, it's gonna end up getting incinerated. Right here, so we can have multiple people working. And then of course we have beer in that. We have where we're gonna put our whole birds to be parted. So these are gonna be the ones in queue. We got ice in there. We got our finished whole birds, and then we have our parted wings and legs. But definitely like, comment, share if you like the video. I don't ask you to do it right now, but at the end, make sure you share it with all your friends, like it. It is gonna be graphic, so for those of y'all who are sensitive to this kind of thing, just make sure you kind of swipe through certain parts of it. So let's go get our birds. So we got a couple birds here. Now we're gonna go ahead and put them inside the cone. All right, so when you do this, you're gonna face them towards the cone. You're gonna stick them inside the cone like this. Their feet are gonna stick out. Just like that. And you wanna push their head all the way down like this. So at this point, you're gonna grab them by their head, kind of get the jaw, and you're gonna separate the feathers just like this. Now you wanna get a sharp knife. Now this is called a ventral neck cut. You're gonna cut right here. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be severing the jugular artery to allow the bird to bleed out. Now in this situation, the heart is gonna keep bleeding for a little while. That's gonna make sure all the blood actually comes out of the chicken. And you're gonna see some kicking around. When you see the kicking around, that's actually just the nerves that are kicking out. Now if you let go at this point in time, what's gonna end up happening is the bird can actually kick out and kick you in the face. By bleeding out the bird, it's going to give it a better flavor, it's gonna give it a better shelf life, and it's also gonna help reduce the chance of bacteria. So at this point, these are what's called the death throes. The bird is kicking around. The bird is no longer alive at this point. We're gonna let this one bleed a little bit, and we're gonna do another one. Always make sure you move those feathers so you get yourself a clean cut. We're gonna be saving the blood. The blood that we're gonna be saving is gonna be used for plants. It's really great for plants. We're gonna be making blood meal, basically. So in order to do that, we don't want the blood to coagulate. So we're gonna add a little bit of vinegar. Adding the vinegar, what that's gonna do, it's gonna help that blood. You can see how it's already coagulating in there. So it's gonna help prevent that from coagulating because it coagulates fast. And coagulate means it thickens. We don't want it to thicken in this case. You can let it thicken if you'd like. You can throw some salt in and it actually make fried blood. So it's something a lot of people eat. But this is the first part. That's called a ventral neck cut. These are restricting cones or kill cones. And you can see the birds, how they are in there. Next step is going to be scalding. Now scalding, what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna do one bird at a time just to show y'all. Depending on the size of your bucket, you can do multiple. So we're literally just gonna take the bird. Now come over here, you can see at about 150, 155 degrees. We're gonna take the bird by the feet. And we're just gonna dunk it and swirl it around. We're gonna do this for about 30 seconds to a minute. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna loosen up the skin. It's gonna loosen up the pores. That way it's gonna make it easier when we put it in the plucker for the feathers to come off. This water is 150 degrees. It's not cold, so if your hands are sensitive, you can always use gloves. They do sell gloves that you can use for this as well. Now the way to tell when it's done is the breast feathers. You just run across your thumb. You see how it just comes off just like that? It's done. You don't want to do this for too long or you're going to end up cooking your bird. This is the plucker. This is the yard bird plucker. The chicken is going to go inside the plucker. You're gonna turn on your water, then you're gonna turn it on. There you go. You're gonna have a few feathers here and there. You just pluck those off by hand. That's right, we are gonna make chicken nuggets out of these chickens. All right, so here's our bird. Now, big thing here too is when you're doing this step right here, you notice how when it was inside the plucker, it has those little fingers. If you do it for too long, it's gonna bruise the meat. So you don't wanna do that. So we got this bird here. First thing I'm gonna be doing is cutting off the legs. Now the legs, these bend right here. This comes off just like that. Then we're gonna do the head. This is not the greatest knife. All right, now there's a couple different things you can do here. I'm gonna remove some of this skin. The best knife to use for this, in my opinion, would be a boning knife. Of course, for some reason we got rid of our boning knife. So this is a paring knife. So with my fingers, I'm gonna be separating the membranes.
Come on, Dad.
Just like this. So I'm separating all these membranes, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to the crop. Actually, this is the crop right here. So this piece here is the crop. So I'm gonna use my finger to break around. You don't want to use a knife because if you puncture this and there's food inside of it, then you have a mess. Unless you're really, really good with a knife. I'm not that good. All right, so I got the crop separated. We're gonna go down in here. We're gonna pull the skin out. We're gonna puncture that. Same thing with our fingers. I'm gonna start pulling apart. Flip this bird over. Make a cut on each side of the tail. I do get a cut to remove this skin here because it's just in my way. Now, I will tell y'all, I've never been formally trained. So, I'm just a guy out here chopping up a chicken. But, there's more than one way to skin a bird. Start pulling out. So, I'm gonna grab the heart first. So here's the heart. All right, so this is your liver. It's your liver right there. So all the intestines. The gizzard is right here. It's gonna be attached to the esophagus. And then once we have the intestines moved out, then we can go ahead and cut off the tail. So we got the majority of the insides out. We always want to make sure we rinse. Good rinse. You want to make sure when you're inside, you need to scoop along the ribs because you got to take out the lungs. You see that bright, bright red? That's lungs. Lungs are not something that you can eat. It's actually one of the only parts of a bird that you can't eat. They do make tools to help get all that stuff out of there. I find just using my finger is the easiest. Also, you don't have to open it this wide. A lot of people leave it a lot smaller. I really don't care. So I'm just scraping along with my finger, all the ribs.
Water cup.
Take this and we're just gonna toss it inside a gallon bag for right now. We do have heat shrink bags, which I'll show you in a little bit. But for now, we're gonna toss this guy in here and we're gonna throw it inside the ice chest. I'm gonna do the same steps for the second bird. And when I get back to this part, I'm gonna show you how you actually part it into the individual parts if you don't wanna cook it as a whole bird like I just did. All right, so we got our other bird plucked. What we're gonna be doing here, of course, we're gonna break the legs right here. Let's go straight through. Now this one, we're gonna part out into individual pieces. That didn't work out, I wanted it to, but hey. There we go. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna break the legs. Gonna pull them back, pop it, pop it. Same thing with the arms. All right, now we're gonna cut. I like to remove the skin before I do this step. I feel like it's just a little bit easier because then I can see exactly what I'm doing. Some people don't remove the skin. All right, so we got a nice breast here. And you're gonna find that chest bone and you're gonna cut right alongside it. Again, I am not culinary trained. I'm just a dude cutting up a bird. But I like to cut and then I come from the back, what she said. we go. Got a chicken breast. Same thing on the other side. And again, a boning knife is better. You can see I left some meat on there. That's okay. All right. Now that I have the breast removed, I'm gonna cut right here. Here's our wing. Now, if you eat wings at the restaurant, we're gonna cut this skin right there. Cut right here. So, here's your buffalo wing. Here's your buffalo wing. I'm gonna leave this piece on there because there is meat on there. But I'm gonna take off the feathers.
I think my 27 is dirty now.
Okay, hold on.
All right, for the legs, I'm gonna come on the back. You're gonna flip that bird over. All right, we want to get this piece right here.
Thank you. It's beautiful. Thank you. Wonderful.
Again, I like to remove the skin on this part. You don't have to, but that way I can see all this meat here. Boom. Here's your thigh. Here's your leg. Again, here you can see all the meat. Get a good cut around there. Just want to move a little bit more skin. I want it. Thigh. There's your leg. And then this right here still has all the insides inside of it. So, I mean, you can use this and you can, you know, take it to farms or whatever you want to have, but there's all your insides. You can see, I mean, there is meat that's left on there. I'm doing this kind of quick to show y'all. Again, I'm not culinary trained. This is just something that I've kind of learned as I went from various people and various videos. So this right here is how you part it out. So you've seen both whole bird and you've seen parted bird. We're gonna go ahead and process all the birds, and when we're done processing the birds, then we're gonna come back. And when we come back, we're actually going to be showing you how to seal the birds up so that you can store them in your freezer. Hey, look, it's Fluffy. Should never process chickens without a cold drink. So we're to the point where the chickens won't come inside the cage anymore. So my wife is trying to catch them. Let's take a look. You gonna catch those chickens?
We got two again.
Get them in there.
Just like grab them.
Just grab them. There's one.
Keep on now. Oh, I don't want to catch the difference right now.
Get them.
Poop on my hands. Poop on my hands.
You were covered in blood. I'll just go for 3.
Huh?
Go for 3.
Okay.
How many are left?
2, 5, 7. You're gonna have to do the game. I can't. Like, look, I
Just grab it. Grab them, man.
Race, man. Like, poor baby.
It's gimpy.
Ah! What? Gimpy's got some fight in him. Come here, Gimpy. Get back! I'm sorry, dude. I know it. Don't touch me.
It's fun, man. All right. Come on, man.
I'm trying.
All right, so we're a little more than halfway done. Wanted to show y'all kind of a teaching moment. This is the first time that my wife has actually helped process chickens. So we've been teaching her, and I want to show you the importance of making that cut right here. So when you're doing your ventral cut, you don't cut across. You're gonna hold the neck, you're gonna hold the jaw, and you wanna cut at a diagonal, just like this, right along, like my beard, right along the side there. You wanna put pressure, but you don't wanna sever the head, and this is why. So this is what happens when you put it in the plucker, when you've made that cut all the way through the neck. Because what it does is it separates the skin. Then when you put it in the plucker, it actually rips the skin off the body. Now, this is perfectly fine if you're parting it out. It can make it a little bit more difficult because the skin is tightened up around it. If you're trying to keep some of that skin, if you're not keeping the skin, it's not that big of an issue. But a big thing with it too is you want to make sure you're cutting that jugular basically, because when you cut that jugular, the bird keeps breathing for a little bit, the heart keeps pumping, so all the blood gets out of the bird. So make sure you're cutting it right here, not right here. All right, so we have everything parted, we have everything eviscerated. The next step that we're gonna be doing is heat sealing the bags for the big chickens, because those are gonna go straight into the freezer. So how are you gonna do this? You have to buy heat sealing bags. So this is the bag right here. We're just gonna take it. And you're gonna need some zip ties. So grab the chicken by the feet. It's gonna go into the bag. You're gonna take it like this. Take your zip tie. Now, you don't want to fully seal it because we got to take it over to the burner. So we got a different burner set up here. Now, I always do a separate burner. I don't do the same one that I was putting the chickens in because I want clean water. So same thing, heated it up 150 degrees, and all we're going to do is we're going to take this and put it inside. There you go, heat shrunk. All right, so we've already started cleaning everything up. We got everything heat sealed. It does come with a straw, by the way, when you do the heat seal. I forgot about that when I was doing the film, and I did it with the other ones. You can stick the straw in, that way it just gets a little bit more of the air out. But it's going straight into the freezer, so it's not a big deal. This is how it works. Everybody does it a little bit differently. Let me know in the comments how you do it. As far as whether or not this is humane, this is how we live our life. We raise our own meat, we raise our own food, and it's the most natural way to do things. We don't have to buy from a grocery store. We don't have to deal with, commercial and industrial farming. So this is how we do everything. I appreciate y'all checking it out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I appreciate you watching through the entire video. This is Ready, Set, Homestead. Enjoy homesteading.